So I've talked plenty about monitors here on YouTube, but one thing that I've always wanted was something that was sleek and small and didn't have a huge battery hanging off of it. And that brings me to this. This is the Cine X5L. This is a 6-inch monitor that has an internal battery. It's daylight viewable and it's budget friendly. So I've had this monitor for about a month and a half now, so I want to go over some of the things that I love and some of the things that I don't like so much. So a quick disclaimer, Cine did send me this monitor for free, so there is going to be some inherent bias, but if you think that I'm going to sell my soul for a $200 monitor, then you don't know me very well. So first, let's go over the pros. First pro is the price. So again, this monitor is only going to run you about 200 bucks, which is really affordable. So great option for the budget conscious filmmaker or content creator. And because this has an internal battery, there isn't going to be an additional cost of a Sony MPF battery plate or trying to figure out how you're going to power it. You can just buy it, turn it on, and use it, which is really cool. So the second pro is the brightness. This is about 1200 nits. I have it at the lowest brightness right now, but let's see if I turn it up, you can really see how bright it is. Like, it just looks white on my camera here, but that's because the brightness is up completely. But very bright monitor, very easy to see outside. In fact, I took it on a paid gig and I was able to see it pretty easily. We were shooting about high noon and it was still very easy to see. I did use the included hood though, just because it was high noon and there was a lot of sun just glaring on it. This is a pretty reflective screen, so when you're shooting in bright sunlight, it does help to have that hood on there. Again, 1200 nits is really nice for a monitor of this price point. The monitor that I normally use is this Small HD Focus 5, which this is a lot smaller and this only has a 800 nit brightness. So having 1200 is a really nice upgrade. So the third pro is the interface. It is super easy to access all the menus here. Double tapping on the screen will bring you down to the main menu. Swiping up will take you to all of your quick settings right here. So you can turn on your LUTs, your peaking, your histogram, your zebras. Very, very easy. On the right-hand side, you can adjust the volume if you're using the headphone, and on the left-hand side, you can adjust the brightness. It's just a very good UI, and I just really like how easy it is. And it's got all of the ports that you're gonna need to. It's got a headphone jack, it's got your one HDMI port, it has your USB-C port for doing firmware upgrades, and then it's got your USB-C port on the bottom to charge it. And then you have one 1/4-20 tap on the bottom, and it's got the anti-twist little divot here. No other 1/4-20s, which is kind of a bummer, but I normally just mount monitors from the bottom 1/4-20 anyways, so that's not a real big issue for me. So now let's get into the cons. So there is definitely a few drawbacks with this Cine monitor. And the first one is something that I've addressed with the people at Cine, and it's that the charging is a little bit finicky. So after talking with Cine a little bit, they sent me a new firmware that was super easy to update on this monitor, and now everything works great. So charging works normally. The second con is actually the sound of the fans. So since this has an internal battery and since it can get very bright, it can get warm. So there is internal fans on this monitor, which is really nice, but they are a little bit audible. So if I bring it close enough to my microphone here, it's definitely an audible sound that you might pick up if you're in a really, really quiet room. So that's just something to keep in mind. Most of the time, as long as your microphone isn't like right up on this monitor, you're not really gonna notice it, but it is definitely audible, so just keep that in mind. This does only have one HDMI in, which is a little bit of a bummer because you can't send the signal from this monitor out anywhere. But I think what's actually more annoying to me anyways is just where the HDMI port is. Now this is very common for lower end monitors and even some of the higher end monitors. They have the HDMI port here on the left side, which makes sense, but I would really much rather have an HDMI port on the back of the monitor or on the bottom of the monitor, because when you have it here, let me grab an HDMI cable. So when you have an HDMI cable connected to it, this is just asking for something to snag on it and pull it out. So I really don't like this design. There is options to get maybe like a right angle HDMI cable to just minimize it and clean up the weird, jutting out of the HDMI cable, but I just personally don't like that. I think that more companies need to make the HDMI port be on the back or on the bottom. I just think that makes a lot more sense. And the last con is more of like a nitpick, but I actually think that this looks really, really good. Like it's a nice looking monitor. But I do wish for us professionals who like to keep everything as discreet as possible, I'd rather have a matte black version instead of this gunmetal. It still looks really, really good, don't get me wrong, but I always like to have at least the option to just have everything matte black. So that's the only other nitpick that I can really find with this monitor. It is really affordable and it packs a really good punch for 200 bucks. I think it can keep your entire rig a lot smaller. The battery life on this, I want to say will last you at about 2-ish hours, depending on how much brightness you're going to be using. But if you're just doing, short run and gun shoots where you just need a nice monitor, you're not shooting all day, I would definitely say you could just slap this right on your rig and have a really nice bright monitor. Really convenient, really good price point, and honestly, I like it. It's not too big and it just keeps everything really nice and compact. So the big selling point of a monitor like this is like, this is your profile of the monitor, whereas like traditional monitors are going to have like a big battery hanging off the back if you want to, have it powered for any length of time. So these monitors are great, but if you want something really, really small that has an internal battery, the Andy Cine X5L is the way to go. I'll have links to where you can pick up this Andy Cine X5L in the description below. Thanks Andy Cine for sending this out. It was definitely a fun monitor to try. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this quick review and I'll catch you all next time. Bye.